You're listening to Montgomery Creek Outdoors. Kick off your boots and kick up your heels. Today's adventure starts right now.
Hey everybody, this is Casey Conley, and I'm joined by my dad, Tim Conley.
Hello.
And this is story number 4 of our Montgomery Creek Outdoors podcast series. Today we have our friend, Richie Music, on the line, who is an Illinois bow hunter. How you doing today, Richie?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on. So you had an incredible 2016 bow season. Killed 2 bucks. So how did that feel, and how'd you get so lucky?
Well, it feels amazing, to be honest with you. And luck is an important word there. I definitely feel like I got lucky.
So, Richie, tell us about the gross scores of those 2 bucks. What were they?
The first buck was 164 and 6/8, and the second one is a little busted up. He should be a 9-pointer, but as a 6-pointer, he still scores 161.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow. That is an unbelievable season. And you killed both those bucks in November, is that correct?
Yeah, within a week of each other.
Wow.
So
And pretty close to each other on the farm?
Yeah, about I had a stand on each side of the ditch. It was only about 60 yards from each stand.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about where you hunt. Is it local? Is it a big lease you got somewhere? Or how many acres is it? How far from home?
Well, it is local. It's about 30 minutes from my door. It's, I guess, what a lot of us would call suburban zone hunting.
Okay.
It's just shy of 700 acres, and it's not a lease or anything. It's actually on a handshake, knocking doors, and got lucky and got permission.
Oh, wow, that's the best kind. Now, are you the only one that hunts that, or you got some buddies hunt it with it, or some other people have permission also?
There's one other buddy that hunts it, but he's actually just recently, as of last year, relocated to Texas. So
that's
he
a good
only
state.
comes around maybe, he comes around maybe 10 days throughout the entire season. That's it.
Okay.
Nice.
So you got a pretty good chunk of property that you can kind of do your thing on. That's good. Now.
Oh yeah.
When did you kill the first buck?
I believe it was November 3rd.
Okay.
And then you got that second buck, and it wasn't, following along on Facebook, I kind of saw it wasn't really the fairy tale ending that most of us hope for. So talk to us a little bit about the trials that you had to go through to recover that second buck.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It wasn't a fairy tale ending by any means. I actually, he was trailing a doe fawn, and it was about 2:15 in the afternoon. They were coming down a logging road. And I had a wide open shot. I had a white birch on the opposite side of the logging road, and I got ahead of the deer and I ranged that white birch, and it said 46 yards. So I turned my dial to 46 on my HHA sight, and the doe fawn cleared, and he was right in tow behind her. And lo and behold, I grunted at him, stopped him, and put one an inch over his back.
Oh, wow. We've all been there and done that.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So he turned around and ran back up the hill 50 yards, but he didn't want to leave that hot doe. So about 90 seconds later, here he come back down the trail again. And then I realized what I'd done. He wasn't against the tree. He was more towards me in the logging road. So he was about 4 yards shy of what I had ranged. So I quickly adjusted to 42 yards. And at this time, he was on high alert. He was at a walk, but a fast walk.
Mm-hmm.
And he had his head forward, and he was looking for what had just occurred. So I came to full draw, and I knew, looking back now, I knew I shouldn't have grunted at him. I wouldn't have had the shot opportunity I did. He would have just bolted instantly. He was already on high alert. And so I just followed him, and as his shoulder would move, I moved with him. And, I let the arrow go. It looked beautiful. I mean, even when you slow-mo the footage, it looks like a heart shot. And a big deer like that's a long body and long legs. So when he took that stride, it hit him center mass.
Yeah.
and the chase was on. It was from that point on, I got out of there. Never even went to recover my arrow. Figured I'd give him ample time. I knew it wasn't a great shot. Get out of there. When in doubt, back out. The old saying goes.
Yeah.
And that next morning I came in, found my arrow right there, covered in blood, and the blood trail was phenomenal for the first 75 yards. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, maybe I did clip the liver. Maybe he's going to be laying right here.
So let me understand the shot a little better. The shot was the lower third of the deer and midway between, say, the front and the back legs. Is that pretty accurate description?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
And, so I continued on that blood trail, and it was, really good blood. I mean, you didn't have to search for it. It was just a great trail, and I thought, okay, he's going to be right here. Well, what turned into great blood, turned into spotty blood, and then I ran into a bed. There was a little bit of blood in the bed. I said, I'm going to push it a little bit further. Maybe he's in this bedding area. And the mistake I made, I had my bow in my hand. I didn't have an arrow knob. And I came up on the crest of a knob, and I'm looking at the ground for blood, not looking ahead. And lo and behold, he jumps up out of a bed at 20 yards and just stands there broadside, looks at me, snorts at me. I'm trying to get an arrow out of the quiver as fast as I can. To try
probably
to get
shaking. Your hands are probably shaking.
Oh yeah. He never even takes a bound. He just walks off out of my life.
So
kept walking.
So what kind of landscape was this? Was this open woods, or is this a thick, brushy?
This is yeah, absolutely. This is a super thick, brushy knob up in an oak flat. I mean, so thick that you can realistically see 20 feet in most spots, unless it's on a deer trail where you can see 20, 30 yards. You're hard pressed to see 20, 25 feet.
Okay. So from there, this is the next day. You shot the deer at about 2:30, 3 o'clock or something in the afternoon the previous day. You're in there, and I guess it's early in the morning or mid-morning when this happens. Yep. So from there, what do you decide to do?
Okay, so from that point, when he walked out of my life, I thought, because he didn't run, I assumed he's fatally wounded. He's going to go 100 yards and bed up again and die right here. So again, I thought, okay, get your orange tape out of your pocket, mark last blood, and get out of here. Give him more time. Give him more time. Don't push him.
Yeah.
So I took some orange flagging tape. I marked the branch where I had jumped him. I got out of there. Waited till the next morning. Took a buddy in with me. We looked for 4.5 hours and could not find one speck of blood and could not locate the deer.
Oh, no.
That's
and
just
now
a sickening
I'm about
feeling.
to have an emotional breakdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with a deer that size. Now, what did you do? Go into like a grid search area? I mean, you're hunting a 700-acre property. That can be quite time-consuming.
Well, on this particular piece, on the west side of this property, it's about a 120-acre chunk. And that's exactly what we did. We started the grid search the best we could, and we couldn't find anything. I mean, it was crazy. I thought for sure we were going to find him, and I showed my buddy the blood trail from the beginning, and the second he looked at it, he said, "That's a dead deer. No question, that's a dead deer." So we looked till dark, and we couldn't locate the buck. And he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I'm not going to work. I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm coming back again. I'm not giving up. I can't." And he's like, I heard about this guy that's got a really good tracking dog. He's from Central Illinois. Let me see if I can find his info. And he went home. We left the farm. He went home. And he called me about an hour later, and he said, "I got his number. Do you want it?" I said, "Yes." So I called this gentleman, and he was actually, at the time, in Southern Illinois on a track job.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This guy says to me, "I can be there at daylight." I said, "Well, you're 7 hours away." He says, "I can be there at daylight." I said, "Okay." So I met this gentleman. He had a beautiful was just a monstrous bloodhound. Probably one of the prettiest dogs I've ever seen. When he opened the back of the SUV, and I could not believe the sheer size of this bloodhound when it jumped out. Just a massive, massive dog.
Huh.
And I gave him the scenario, and he said, "Well, take me to where you shot it." And he had this extremely long leash. It was actually like a rope that he led the dog around on. And, we started off on the trail, and the dog was going everywhere. And I thought, oh, boy. And this went on for about an hour.
Now, did you start the dog off where you last found blood, or where you first shot him, or what was the procedure there?
When we got out of the truck at the farm, he said, "Take me to where the arrow impacted the deer."
Okay, all right.
Where you first started blood. And that's what we did. But here's where we went wrong, Tim. And I didn't know this. But the guy said, because the dog would, it would go down trails we'd already went down. I said, "No, the deer ain't down there. We've already done that. We've already done all this." And at this point in time, I'm covered in sweat. The tracker's covered in sweat. And he looks at me and he says, "I'm going to tell you something. You guys made this track job." And that's an important lesson for everybody listening to this, to remember this, because when he said this, it made all the sense in the world. He said, "You guys have made this damn near impossible, because you've been in here for 3 days, walking all over the trails, and you may or may not have stepped in the blood and got it on your boots, and you tracked it everywhere in this piece of property. So the dog is following your boot print."
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And I said, "Damn, that makes perfect sense." So at that point, the guy says, "Okay, all right, we're going to do this my way. Take me to the last blood where you marked that orange flagging tape. Take me right there." I said, "Okay." So we went right back to there. You guys, it wasn't 60 seconds of us letting that dog hit that orange flagging tape that he put his nose to the sky and let out a hellacious howl and just took off.
Oh, you're painting a picture for me, Richie.
Oh, my God. The guy looked at me, and he said, "He's on your deer. That's the deer." And we just took off. We just took off running through the woods. And he's holding this rope, and the dog's pulling him. And we went 100 yards. There he was. I couldn't believe it. We had walked around that deer for 3 days.
So was the deer in really, really thick cover where he wasn't visible, or where did he end up being?
Yeah, super, super, super thick cover.
Just kind of buried in then.
And had we not had that dog, I wouldn't have found that deer probably till shed season, when all the foliage was down. And it made all the difference in the world, in my opinion, to do the right thing. When in doubt, back out. You know what? It costs a lot of money to get this guy out there. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's ethical to recover the animal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I did that.
And I agree. You exhausted all your efforts until you found the deer. That's the important thing. And
we're happy you did.
That's quite a story. I mean, we have bird dogs and been into that all our life. So the dog thing always interests us. So I never really personally talked to somebody that did. And let me get this right. This was 2 days later or 3 days later?
3.5 days later.
3.5 days later. Pretty impressive.
Yes.
Wow, awesome. Well, hey,
yes.
Thanks for telling that story for us. And we're going to switch gears here and start talking about things that are happening now. So turkey season is happening now. I know last weekend, from the looks of Facebook, you took some kiddos out for a youth turkey season. Did you have any kind of success or just have fun, or what happened?
Anything with kids, it's always a success, I think. Just getting them out there and introducing them to the great outdoors. My son, Joseph, is 11 years old. This was his first hunt ever with Dad. Now, I think I was more excited than he was. And, no, we didn't get it done. We didn't get an opportunity, but we had a good time. And we're actually heading out tomorrow. We have this weekend as well in Illinois. We get 2 weekends. This is the first year ever, actually, that we get 2 weekends back to back to get the youth out there and give them a
that's
chance
great.
to get on a bird. to get on a bird before the rest of the seasons kick in here.
So how does the turkey season for the adult kids work? Is it ours here in Indiana is coming in late this year? It doesn't come in until the 26th, which my fear is the grass and the green and everything's going to be so tall.
And my fear is it's happening now. I mean, we've watched the news the past 2 nights, and 2 days in a row here in Indiana, there's been a turkey flying through people's windshields in Indiana. So I'm like, it's happening now, and we don't get to go out and play until the end of April. So
how's that Illinois season structured?
We actually we have 5 seasons, 5 or 6 seasons. I'd have to double check to be sure. It's at least 5, it may be 6 seasons. But it comes in April 10th. I have first season, which is April 10th, and we get 5 days to hunt per season.
Okay, so they give a little break between seasons, or is the seasons in different areas of the state?
No, it's well, we're in the northern zone, which is April 10th through. I'd have to look at the thing to tell you the truth.
Okay.
But each season is like a 5-day stretch, and then you start season 2. So I've got 3 different chances to get out and hopefully get one.
That's
well,
cool.
Good luck to
I
you.
got some crazy tactics up my sleeve this year. My goal is to reap one with a turkey fan with a bow.
Oh, cool.
Now, Richie,
Like a scoot and shoot, right?
I've seen you, and you're a pretty good-sized fella. And most of those guys I see doing that belly crawling are little bitty young guys. So I don't know. I'm just going to wish you the best of luck, okay? And just leave it at that.
I'm
Interesting, to say the least.
I'm sitting across the table from a pretty old guy, too, that should be talking, because he sits at a blind every year, because I don't even think he could run and gun, so.
Yeah, definitely not the run part. Hey, let's talk about, anybody follows you on the social media knows you're huge into the waterfowl hunting. Is that season over now, or is this still going on, or how's that work?
No, that's all over. And waterfowl is a huge passion of mine, and unfortunately, I got out of it when I got hooked up in the filming bow hunts. I just kind of let that go by the wayside, and fortunately, I was tagged out early enough this year to where I had half of the waterfowl season to get back in the game, and that's exactly what I did.
Now I heard.
And in doing.
Go ahead. I heard that you were. I heard that you were going to start up some kind of outfit of your own called Goosebusters. Who you gonna call?
That's right. Actually, I did start it up. It's up and running, and we will be booking hunts this fall for clients all around northern Illinois.
Cool.
We've got about 3,800 acres leased up, to where we can take clients. You don't want to put too much pressure on the field. You don't want to overhunt a field. Birds get educated. They know what's going on. And the later in the season it gets, the harder they are to convince to come into those fields. So
I bet.
You got to stay mobile.
So I mean, if you look at a map, where exactly in the world are you located? When I think about Illinois, you're in the northern part, but are you, east or west? Are you centrally located, or east or west, or where are you at?
If you look at a map and you look at Chicago and you look at Rockford, I'm right in the middle of the two.
Okay. So that's kind of on the east
of Chicago.
Okay, kind of on the east side of northern Chicago.
And we couldn't tell by your accent, though. Don't worry.
So is that hometown? Is that where you were born and raised, or?
Interesting question. No. Real quick, I won't get into the whole story on that, but I was born in Chicago. And my mother and father were actually drug addicts. They're both deceased now. They were both heroin addicts. So as a child, we bounced around a lot in Chicago, from always getting kicked out of rental homes and moving to another one, or staying in hotels and things of that nature. But fortunate for me, at the age of 10, my mother's sister adopted me to get me out of that situation.
Okay.
She had a daughter. She had a daughter that was 2 months younger than me. So I was taken from that situation and moved to Wisconsin, which was the start of everything I love, hunting and fishing. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today had it not been for them stepping up and taking me away from that situation and relocate me to Wisconsin and introducing me to hunting and fishing and a whole new way of life. Because,
so you went from a very, very rough childhood in the inner city and moved out to rural
America. That's an awesome
hunting
story.
and what a 180-degree turnaround it sounds like.
We're thankful.
Absolutely, without a doubt. It was a godsend, and I never looked back. I mean, it lit a fire in me from the first hunt ever that just, this is what I want to do. I mean, this is living.
So what age did you start hunting? I mean, roughly.
I started hunting. I completed hunter safety when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
They put me in a hunter safety class and also a boater safety class. And I started hunting at 12. I killed my first deer the last day of the Wisconsin 9-day gun season. It was a nubbin buck with less than 5 minutes of the season. I killed him with a 20 gauge Remington Pump 870 at 10 yards.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like God was looking out for you again.
That's cool.
That was it. From that moment on, I was hooked.
I bet you was.
So talk to us about your real job. I know we all kind of have real jobs, and hunting's our passion,
Sure.
but what's your real job?
So on the whole Wisconsin thing, my uncle owned a construction company, roofing, siding, soffit facing windows, exterior remodeling company. So I grew up with him in and around that trade and learned his skill set, you know.
Cool.
And so as I matured and moved back to Chicago on my own, you know, that's the industry I knew. So I worked for a couple of companies doing roofing and siding sales, and then I started my own. 13 years ago this year, I started my own company, and I've been doing that ever since.
Okay.
Awesome. So switching gears again, we just finished up with shed season, and I know you found quite a few great sheds. Talk to us about some of the cool sheds that you found and what you're looking forward to for some of those deer, the sheds that you found.
You know, I did this again. I got super lucky with the whole shed thing. I didn't find a lot. I think I found maybe 15 this year. And in years past, we'd find high 30s to mid 40s were pretty good years. It's become so competitive now that, you know, even with shed poaching, guys coming in on private property and beating you to your sheds, it's making it harder and harder to find any, in all honesty. I did find some good ones. I found the biggest one so far is a 73-inch clean 4-point side with a 29-inch beam.
Oh, wow. That is nice.
He's on the hit list, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, let's coming up before long, maybe already. I don't know. I know if you follow you do an awful lot of bow fishing. Is that season here for you yet, or is that yet to come?
You know, no, I don't mess with that too much until summer.
Okay.
A lot of guys are starting right now. They are getting out now. You know, up on Lake Wisconsin, where I grew up in southern Wisconsin. They'll really start spawning good, where you can go out and shoot 100 if you want to.
So now, are you doing this mostly at night, or do you do some day fishing, or are you out there on a boat with the lights, or how do you do all that?
A lot of both.
Okay.
It all depends when my wife says I can go, to be honest with you.
Hey, you got your priorities straight. That's all I got to say.
That is important.
With five kids, I need permission.
That's cool. So I guess wrapping up here, thank you for joining us today. But before we wrap up, is there any shout outs that you want to give to any of your hunting buddies or your family, anything like that?
Share your Facebook pages and everything with people.
Your handles.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to learn more or is interested in booking a waterfowl hunt, you can check out our webpage at goosebustersoutfitters.com. And we also have our page on Facebook under Goosebusters Outfitters. So we're really trying to get that up and running this year. And that's we're gonna do some specials. If anybody follows us on Facebook right now, we're giving away a free hunt.
Oh, cool.
Once we get up to 1,000 likes and shares, we're gonna do a free hunt giveaway for that. And I'd like to see a lot more children get involved in the outdoors. So anybody that wants to come out and hunt and they want to bring a kid with them, let me know and we'll make it happen. So
great,
cool. Awesome,
great. Well, Richie, we're about hit our timeline, so we appreciate you being on the show today. And
absolutely.
Best of luck. I don't know if you can have a luckier season than you had last year, but
maybe you can sneak up on one of those turkeys with your bow. I mean, you're pretty lucky.
I'm gonna try. Time will tell. Hey, it's been a blast, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you or letting you hear us on an upcoming episode of Montgomery Creek Outdoors podcast series. Thanks, Richie Music. We appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to another story and another adventure right here on the Montgomery Creek Outdoor Podcast. We would like to give a big thank you to our partners and also the fine folks at Trophy Rock, Eagle Seed, Dirt Nap Gear, and Hunter Safety System. We hope you all enjoy each moment you spend in the great outdoors and hope that your storybook of adventure has many chapters.